So going online, I see these wood spinners that seem to be pretty popular with the woodworkers. I mean, they're kind of cool. I like the geometric designs, and there's definitely a lot to choose from. Anyways, I'm thinking about designing something that would be a smaller scale, making it look like almost like a double helix or some type of geometric design. So let's take the first step here and let's design something. Alright, after going through all my spare stuff laying around, I was thinking about using a dowel to thread through it, but it makes more sense to use threaded rod like most people do. And I have this little thin one. It looks like it's about a 1/4 inch. I think that'll be about the right height for something for an indoor version or a desktop version. And now let's look for some lumber. As I'm going through my lumber, I noticed that I've got recently from Home Depot, I got all of this for $2 a piece, and that's oak, 1/2 inch oak. And I think that if I make these 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, it'll be just about right. So it sounds like I found some good oak that might work for what it's 11 inches, so that tells me I need 22 1/2 inch pieces. So now it's just a matter of cutting down the wood to 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. Do that on the table saw, pretty easy peasy, and I need at least 22 of them, and I think I'm going to make them at different lengths. So let's cut these down. Alright, so one board yielded me 9 1/2 inch strips. But anyways, let's cut these down to random lengths. So I think that having them at 1/2 inch increments makes the most sense. I want them as little as 2 inches, but no more than 10 inches. I think that would be a good size. So I started by lining up the miter saw with a 2-inch slot, and I just put my tape measure or my yardstick here, and then I made a little mark on the actual bench at the 10 inches because that's the widest I want. And what I'll end up doing is just cutting, moving it a 1/2 inch, cutting, moving it a 1/2 inch, and just to make things easier, I'm cutting because I'm going to need one at the top and the bottom. Is I'm going to cut 2 at a time. And let's show how it goes. Now I'm going to move the next ones over, and then I'll use my mark to move it down another 1/2 inch. So the next ones will be at 2 1/2 and then 3. No, this is not good. You've all had that happen. Look at this. I knocked over the acetone and it's all over the bench. Well, it'll actually be the cleanest it's been in a long time, but I think it's about time to go to the store. I knocked over the acetone and it's all over the place. Let me wipe it down. These things happen. Alright, so here's the little guys all laid out. Alright, so I think I've got enough to create the length that I want with the rod that I have. And now it's just pretty much getting them in the order that I'd want. Okay, so after laying them out, what I'm going to do is put a straight edge on this. But again, you could always run them along the side. It would whirl a little differently. But that's what I've got here. So seems like the best technique that I've found is that if I just use this sort of as a little backer here, I just line it up to where it's about center as best I can. Turn her on, and then just make my cut. And I just do it slowly because there's not a lot of material on each side. Once I've cut that through, there's a little bit of tear out. I just simply go over to the sandpaper, give it a little, and I'll probably do the rest of the sides later on as well. There we go. Alright, so I have them all drilled out now, and I'm about ready to thread them onto the rod, but I think the next thing is I'm going to finish them first. So I want to just use a Danish oil. It's a penetrating oil that'll work well whether it be inside or outside. Just basically just dabbing a rag and doing each side here, soaking it up good. Then doing the end grain. On to the next. Alright, there they are, all stained and with the Danish oil. We'll let them dry for a little bit. Then I'm going to thread them through the rod and get a mechanism for spinning it. Alright, now I'm going to just simply string them on. Alright, so now I've got them all lined up here. And I'm going to put the end cap or the end nut on here. So now I've got this long bolt and a nut, and I need to get the nut to the bottom of the bolt. So normally you would just do this and do this and do this. So here's my tip of the day. What I do is I take my drill, I chuck it up in the drill, and I set the drill to reverse, and now it brings it all the way to the bottom there. But my bolt is a little longer than I'd like it to be. So what I did is I put the final bolt here. I didn't tighten it down because I still got to turn everything. I put the female to female and kind of measured it. So I will cut this off right about here, which will allow an eyelet at one end and the coupler between the two. So let me just cut this at this length and we should be good. Okay, so now I got it hanging, and I'm just going to turn these. I just left it a little loose. I'll turn these 1/2 inch each. Alright, so we get the idea there. Now I just need to put it on the spinner and we'll give it a whirl. Alright, so now I've got everything all tightened down. Once I've got everything the way I'd like it to be. All looks pretty cool here. Alright, so I'm here at the local Kmart, and I see these in the fishing aisle. They're locking swivels, and they should be strong enough to be able to hold that with no problem. And for what, $2.40, it'll give me enough to get done. See, that's what I like, is non-traditional things that will work in a perfect manner. You know, looking for fishing tackle to do a woodworking project, and it's just those things that are kind of cool. Alright, so now I've got this what is called a interlocking snap swivel. If you're a fisherman, you'll know what that is. And I'll just put it over there, and that would give it enough strength that hold it up there with no problem. Alright, there she goes, and let's give it a spin and see how it looks. Of course, you put it outside, the wind will pick it up. But I think I want to make another one that's going to be smaller for my desktop, but I think it's pretty slick anyways. And hope you want to make one too as well.